In this video, we're going to talk about the Z-Man Elite Evo Chatterbait. Is this a jackhammer killer? A cheap knockoff? What's going on, Z-Man? What's up, everybody? My name's JT. Welcome to the Fishing with Gramps YouTube channel. If you like reviews, how-tos, and a whole lot of bass fishing, you've come to the right spot. Today, we're going to talk about the Chatterbait Evo, a new offering from Z-Man this last year. If you've been around the channel any amount of time, you know that old Gramps loves him some chatterbait. And of course, they come out with a new one. I got to try it out. But this isn't so much about basic chatterbaits and chatterbait fishing. It's about this specific model and how it compares and why did they even come out with it when they already had a jackhammer and several other chatterbait models. So how did Z-Man come out with a cheap chatterbait? And I say cheap, they're $9.99 when regular jackhammers run from 15 to 20 bucks depending on where you're shopping. Did they knock off a bunch of components? Did they cheapen it out? A little bit of jackhammer history. Jackhammers was a partnership between Z-Man and Evergreen. Z-Man Bass Pro, Brian Thrift, and there was a Japanese angler from Evergreen got together and came up with a bunch of high-end components. And as you can see, I've had this jackhammer for several years now and still fish with it. It's been beaten off the rocks, got a little bit of rust on the blade, still catches a crap ton of fish. Now the jackhammer was an upgrade to the chatterbait with premium parts for pro anglers that they asked for. They wanted a bait with eyes on it. They wanted custom colors. You see this shad spot remover color, two-tone head paint, higher quality clasp. This one was actually wire tied, silicone, has a dual wire bait keeper with a big hook. It's just a far superior product to the $5 chatterbaits that you'll find in your local Walmart that still catch a ton of fish. This was just a tournament ready version of it. One of the things I loved about the jackhammer is that flat face head on the bottom and a little bit there up towards the nose. Pair these up with the Yamamoto Seiko, they skip really nice under docks, and I mean far back in there where you can get way back in there and bring this chatterbait through it. So why the Chatterbait Evo? I'm going to speculate that the partnership between Evergreen and Z-Man ended, and instead of sending that money for the rest of the design back over to Evergreen, they reduced the price. That doesn't necessarily mean they chopped or reduced the components used to build this. They just don't have to send that extra cheddar overseas, and that's why you see it's a Z-Man Chatterbait Elite Evo Evolution and no longer the jackhammer. Now, did they still sell the jackhammers? I'm sure they do, and I'm sure they still will until they sell out, because don't stop something if it's that good. But if you're just getting into chatterbait fishing, this will definitely be one to test out. It's a true evolution of the less expensive chatterbaits into more jackhammer-ish type market. For one, there's a dozen different colors that you have to choose from, and they are all high quality, two-tone for the most part, custom painted heads. So let's take a little closer look at the Evo, enjoy kind of some of the components they did with this. They started painting their blades for a little extra flash. Now they also have some more subdued one for that clearer water where it's still got a little two-tone or dots on it, but not quite as reflective, but still enough to grab the attention. But the same jackhammer style blade, they have an upgraded enhanced clip that they use, reduces the chances of you opening it up on a super giant largemouth you catch in some of America's bigger bass factory lakes. One of the things I actually like about this, even over the jackhammer, is the more enhanced 3D eyes. And if you look closely, you'll see these lips down here. And I think that these were put there to help these chatterbaits when they hit a limb to come over it without rolling over as much. I think that is actually meant when it comes over the top, it's to keep that chatterbait from rolling over and snagging the hook into sticks. And it's a very distinctive, it's not like a paint design, it's actually built into the head. They've also changed the style of the top of the head, which I think is to help with that more shimmering action to make it hunt a little better. And grab one of the other ones that doesn't have the bait on it. But this is like one of the bluegill colors. You can see it's got a wire tie on it instead of a rubber band, so you don't have to worry about that rotting. And then another thing they did is you have a hybrid set of hook keepers. You have one wire one, and then you have the ridged one. And that's really good if you're working with either soft plastics or Elastec. So if you've got Elastec, the little hook keeper, push it up there, keep it in place. The ribbed one for those that are, say the Yamamoto Seiko or the other plastisol type baits, like the Spunk Shad, the Crush City Freeloader, the 6 Sense Flush, and the Juggle Minnow, two of my absolute favorite chatterbait trailers. Just depends on how big or small you want the trailer to be. And it's got a nice big custom sticky sharp hook for pinning them and keeping them pinned. Now you can always go online or watch a dozen other videos checking out the specs of the different ones and compare and contrast the two and all the various different styles of chatterbaits. I wanted to come on and make this video because I actually got to fish these last fall when we were down south at Guntersville, and you can even still see the Guntersville grass sitting here on the blade of this new Chatterbait Evo, along with the new Chatterspike trailer that they dropped with this. Now, I was down in Guntersville twice last year, once for the KBF National Championships, and I was throwing a jackhammer, throwing along riprap, throwing along the edges of grass, caught a lot of fish. But between then and the time I went back down there for the knucklehead, pre-fishing and things like that, I actually threw the Chatterbait Evo the whole time I was down there in practice and in the tournament. And I have to honestly say the Evo performed just as well as the Jackhammer. The startup times were pretty much the same. And the action with the Chatterspike, since I didn't have the Chatterspike before, I really, really like the Chatterspike on the back of these Jackhammers. And I use several different chatterbait trailers. Sometimes you just got to figure out what the fish want. I like the ones from Z-Man, like the minnows in like the deal and bad shad. I've also got the razor shads if I needed something like a little bit bigger with the last tech. I love throwing the 6 cents flush, more of a plastic bait when I want more of a hunting action and something that will sink a little more. The Elastec will kind of keep it higher in the water column. And if I want to get it deeper, say on a 1/2 ounce jackhammer, more the fish are more relating to the bottom, that's when I switch over to plastisol baits like the Yamamoto Zako, the 6 cents flush. I want a bigger profile. But those fluke style baits to me seem to hunt a lot better. I don't like paddle tail baits. I will use the boot style baits because it gives a better action, but honestly I love the action of a flush fluke style bait. So when Z-Man came out with this Chatterspike, it's hinged, it's Elastec, it really, really hunts well. And again, I got these towards the end of the season. I think in the springtime these are going to be killer. I really wanted to make this video at the end of the season in the fall to really talk about this, so you guys going into the Christmas shopping season and things like that, you would really kind of know my opinions on these baits. But I took a couple of months off during winter and just relaxed and kind of got my head straight, did a bunch of family stuff, and kind of just took a chill pill, and I really had to. We kept the live streams going, but I didn't do much sitting down in the man cave. This year I want to do a whole lot more stuff, mostly focus on the water and not so much always in the man caves. But I know the fishing fam, you know, when there's baits that come out, you guys want to hear about them, hear my thoughts on them, especially ones that I'm not just getting and doing a first look on. These are baits that I've actually fished and caught fish on. The Chatterbait Evo 100% Gramps approved. You can get these in the Chatterspikes at American Legacy Fishing. Type code GRAMPS10 in at checkout, save 10%. These aren't links from the warehouse in California that pay the YouTuber. These are actual savings to you. My partnership with American Legacy is they let me play with stuff and I get you guys a discount. That's literally how it works. Now stay tuned in a couple of weeks as we approach spring here in southern Indiana, and I'm going to do a full Chatterbait 2024 roundup. The Mini Max, the Big Blade, the Evo, the Jackhammer, the Cross Eyes, all of the various chatterbaits and bladed jigs, to include some Thunder Crickets and Tungsten Thunder Crickets. But I'll do a full masterclass on that, an update to what we have in 2024. We'll go over all the different bladed jigs. We'll go over all the different scenarios and the trailers that I use for each of the different ones, the various rods, reels, speeds, lines, the whole nine. We're going to do a 2024 update here in a few weeks as we get towards the spring here in southern Indiana. So stay tuned for that video. If you want to go back and watch my last roundup on chatterbaits, I'll link that right here. Until next time, get outside when you can and make some memories, one cast at a time.